Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Love Languages. My name is Movamat,
I'm Miss B.
and I have my lovely guest here, Tanita Daniels, and her husband, Steve Daniels.
Steve Chavis.
I am so sorry.
No, it's okay.
No,
It's
you
actually Tanita Daniel Chavis.
I don't know why I forgot that. I'm so sorry.
Because of the way my Facebook's set up, girl. It's fine.
Thank y'all for coming. How y'all doing?
Great.
Excellent. I'm
Awesome.
feeling great. God, it's good to be here. I'm glad you invited me.
Thank you.
Okay.
On this lovely Tuesday, I feel like a
Yes.
Friday.
Exactly.
How you doing, Brandy?
I'm doing pretty good.
My lovely sister.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, how are you?
I'm good, beautiful. How are
Okay.
you?
Thank you. I'm doing great. So, today's topic is called Love and Abuse. So, it's going to be an interesting topic. You know, I want to go into talking about abuse in relationships. And
That's heavy.
I feel like having you as a guest is perfect because I know you got some great insight and knowledge and services for this type of thing.
Absolutely.
So before we get into the topic, I want to talk a little bit about you two. I want you guys to introduce yourself, and then I want you to talk about your business and everything that you got going on. So
Absolutely. Well, like you mentioned, Tanita Daniel Chavis. This is my lovely husband, Steve Chavis. Currently, we have the business is actually Gold Conjure, but it's doing business as When Home Feels Like Magic.
okay,
Currently, When Home Feels Like Magic offers candles. It offers condition oils. We practice hoodoo, very strong hoodoo. And for those who don't know, hoodoo is literally, how should I put it? It's like African American witchcraft. What was it?
the original.
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? Not even African American. I want to say indigenous people's magic.
Right.
Okay. So, so when Home Feels Like Magic offers those services, we also offer tarot readings. Steve is like a master reader. That is like his thing. As far as tarot cards are concerned, we are currently updating the site to include Akashic record readings. But right now we have like one of my main services is Financial Ascension. And it is literally a spiritual approach to your relationship with money and your relationship with business, as well as how you interact with currency in your life, period. So,
Wow. So basically, with that class, you basically teach people how to pretty much align with money to
That's
attract
correct.
money into your life.
absolutely. And it's a one-on-one class. I don't do more than 2 people at a time because it's deeply intuitive. I'm also going to give you readings for it. I do ritual for that class, just so I'm literally creating a safe space for you in your situation specifically. And we have Steve come in there too, because Steve is like the master manifester. He kind of makes all this possible. But so that class is no more than 2 people. I've had several graduates at this point. It's about I think I've had like 8 graduates or whatever, and nothing but awesome things have been said about that.
That class.
So if anybody wants to reach out to me about that, again, you can go to my website, www.whenhomefeelslikemagic.com, and that's magic with a K, you guys, because it's a little different. .com, or you can hit me up on Facebook. My group is named the same, When Home Feels Like Magic. So
Okay. So how long have you been in business?
I've been in business now. Let me see.
How long has that been now?
I think we started it in 2020. We formed the LLC in
Little
2020. Right.
Okay, yeah.
And then business really started to pick up for me last March. I did the Financial Ascension class in January of last year. And then it just rolled out from there. All the different oils that I offer on my site, the different
Products and services.
they all just sort of started stacking after like
Wow,
January of last year.
really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like one of those pandemic baby entrepreneurships, and it just worked for us.
And so with the products, did you already have them lined up, or were they just like coming as you
No,
met?
okay. So as you know, Muva, everything is very intuitive with me. Like I really have to ritual is a lifestyle, right? Like hoodoo is a lifestyle. And when you do that, you are literally you're talking to your ancestors. You have an active relationship with your ancestors. A lot of people think it's ancestral worship. It is not. It is ancestral veneration, which is like a respect. You're keeping your ancestor and your bloodline alive within your family and in the context of family, right? So it's working with ancestors. It's working with deities. And it is becoming yourself, tapping into your natural inclinations, and that's kind of how our products are all formed. If it's not me, it's Steve. If it's not Steve, even our kids have come up with products at this point. But those were just sort of developed as we started working with herbs, because we have an herb garden, and for the most part, we use a lot of our own herbs inside of our products as well. I dress the candles with our herbs and with crystals and things like that. And it is life-changing work. So one thing I tell my clients is that, when I'm getting a message for you, I'm getting a message for myself at the same time.
Always. It's always like that.
Right?
Every reading is always like that.
That's what the products are like too. When I do a product, you can ask Steve. I'm normally like weeks in some type of shadow work. Shadow work meaning like, I want to define that for people because a lot of people
go
don't
ahead and go
understand
into that.
Shadow work literally is like that self-work that you do, self-reflection, inner work, that work that asks the questions, the hard questions, right? So it's just like, okay, Tanita, I made this candle for self-love. How have I been showing up in loving myself?
Right.
How have I not loved myself? You kind of got to do that 360 of anything. I'm getting goosebumps. But it's just like, where are my boundaries? I did a boundaries candle recently. That was like months after shadow work, and then it threw me back into shadow work. I was just like, okay, setting boundaries. What does a boundary mean? You know what I mean? It's not just is that like all of the protection? Oh, hey, Marion, she's on the
Hi, Marion. That's my love right there.
Absolutely. But what do boundaries look like? Is it just a gate? Or is it where I have my beacon, my standard, like, don't pass, you shall not pass here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That to me is what boundaries are. You should not pass.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You gotta be really stern about it.
But yeah, so that's how my products develop. It's usually an abundance of shadow work, an abundance of self-reflection, and asking that question. And then Steve always drops some knowledge on me, and I'll be like, that hurt, ow. Okay, let me go and study
so glad he came. I'm like, yes, she's my Steve. Yes.
That's the essence of the work that's being done anyway. Is to uplift you. So if your work's not done, your work's not done. You gotta take it for what it is. So shadow work is something we appreciate at every point in our journey.
Yes.
We make sure we check in with ourselves and check on each other and make sure that we staying on our path and that we only progressing. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I heard you say something about voodoo or hoodoo. So, what is it that you do? Like, for real, like.
That is a very good question. So, hoodoo is literally, and I heard this on a hoodoo podcast, because hoodoo. I should start off by saying this. Hoodoo is our lifestyle. Like, that is what we do. That is what we teach our children. And while we do not force our belief system on our children or by any means, the best of me I give to my children, right? The best of us we give to our children. So I teach them, this is how you work with these herbs. This is how you do this. When you cook, it's not just cooking. Hoodoo is literally, it is the natural... What did they say on that podcast? She said it is actually the tools of revolution for the slaves of America. It was the tools of revolution, but I would go so far as to say it is the tools of revolution for all people that have ever been enslaved. It is the birthright of us all that have been oppressed and or manipulated by the ruling class, right? So basically you're taking herbs, you're taking oils, you're taking whatever you've got. This is the essence of hoodoo. Start where you are, use what you've got, and do what you can. The herbs have different synchronicities, different correspondences. We work with the moon, we work with the different energies of the day to create a particular condition in a product. That product then becomes, if I sell you an oil, it's a condition oil. It is to address a particular condition that you currently have. The thing is, that condition should not remain. That condition, that oil is literally there to help change your perspective and thereby change your behavior, or change the perspective and behaviors of others as you do the work.
Yes.
In order to arrive at a different conclusion. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Steve, do you have anything to add to that?
I would say that hoodoo would be more, I mean, right along the same lines, but in essence, it is utilization of elements. So it's elemental magic to some extent. It's just knowing, connecting with the essence of nature that you're using, and then utilizing the potentials of it without any manipulation, but allowing it to do its job. So, hoodoo would be a terminology for that type of elemental understanding of the things around you.
Absolutely.
So it's not a religious aspect. There's no dogma at all included in it. I mean, there's utilization of many different energies. So it all comes down to the way you do what you do.
Absolutely.
Let me ask y'all a question too, because this popped in my mind, right? Because when you talk about hoodoo, right, a lot of people who may not know. Now I know, some of the details, not all, right? But some people from the outside looking in may get this confused with another word that sounds a whole lot like hoodoo, right? Which is voodoo. So what is the difference? What is the difference between the two?
Well, voodoo is really dealing with a certain pantheon. A pantheon meaning a group of gods associated with a particular culture. Hoodoo is more dealing with the earth.
Right.
Like he said, it is more elemental magic. So, but voodoo deals with like the not the Oratians. Yeah, the Oratians. But either way, I don't want to get into that because hoodoo is what I practice, not voodoo.
Right.
But voodoo is working with a particular set of cultural pantheon, and doing work that way. It's a lot about balance.
Well, actually, the reason why I asked that is to actually help put an emphasis on explaining exactly what hoodoo is, as opposed to getting into voodoo. Because, like I said, a lot of people maybe, associate the two or think that they're one and the same.
Yeah, they are definitely not one and the same.
So yeah,
they kind of bleed into each other a lot of times. But let me tell you this much, right? Not everybody is practicing voodoo. Voodoo has a particular initiation rites and of passage and everything. Hoodoo, I guarantee you, somebody in your bloodline, you practice hoodoo and don't even realize it. Hoodoo is like those things that are passed down from our family. Like, well, my grandma made her sweet potato. Basically. It's tradition. Absolutely. It's tradition. It's using those traditional things to bring a change in your life. And so everyone practices hoodoo. My grandmother was a very strong Christian. And when something happened in the family, she said, "Oh, man, you have to go to the Obia, man." You know what I mean? She's the first one to be like, "Oh no, you have to put some finesse on it, man. If you want the man to do this, you have to just, sprinkle a little of this in his food, and you see how it works out." Like
rituals.
It's rituals.
Ritualistic practices.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's centered around herbs and spirituality, being connected with the earth, the universe.
Your ancestors. Like it really is. It ties so deeply into ancestral veneration because, like you said, it's traditions passed down to you from your family line, and it's just do what it do. You know what I mean? It's what makes your bloodline strong. I got a little saying that I say, tradition is peer pressure from dead people. So it that kind of confirms that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly right. So yeah, that's what that is all about.
So, Tanita, what will you classify yourself as? A practitioner, a high priestess, a mentor?
I hate labels, Ruba.
Well, go ahead and name them all. We want to know all of what you do.
I would definitely say that I am a practitioner. I am a mystic. I am a mystic. You know what I mean? I am committed to the work of elevated spirituality. I don't play about that. I graduated from Divinity Academy, as we both did.
We both did.
You know what I mean? And she's a magical mystic. And the lessons learned there, along with my own personal practice, it is more and more my realization every day that I am this walk. I practice. I practice accessing my spiritual self, you know, and there's really no name that can encapsulate all of that. But I am a hoodoo. I am a mystic. I am a mentor. I have been a mentor. I am a mentor. I have mentorship. I am a coach. I am amazing. Okay, if I just
I was gonna say that, but you beat me to it.
No, but
For sure.
thank you. But yeah, it's what we do.
Yeah.
He is a manifester. He is a manifester. Period. And I respect him as such. I can't even fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Pardon my language, but I can't.
You're good.
And so, what would you classify yourself as, darling?
Spirit. Spirit. So, spirit.
Bang spirit, baby.
Bang spirit.
Absolutely.
And I agree.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I definitely want to get back to some of your products and services because I, number one, is feeling salty because I kind of missed out. I didn't even know you had all that going on, and I was looking at some stuff, and I'm like, all right, I have a list, but I'm gonna start with the services, some of your classes. Now, what was the name of the money class again?
Financial Ascension. No worries, girl. We didn't talk about everything. It's Financial Ascension on my website. I don't have a lot of my personal services on there because I'm not as heavily into that anymore. They will be returning, but we're transitioning to some other goodness that I don't want to mention yet. You're going to have to invite me back. But my mom is also a reader on there now. She does Reiki, and she is a...
That's who it is?
Yes,
I did not know that was your mom.
That is my mommy.
That is so cute.
Absolutely, and she is an amazing being. And for somebody to have raised me in the church, she has become... I'm gonna cry. She is... When we transitioned, when I came up out of the church as soon as I left my parents' house, and my mother shortly followed. She got her master Reiki. She's a fantastic Reiki. Like, she will send you that energy across them. She literally once sent it to me while I was in the hospital, and I got up that same day and left the hospital. But she does readings. She does this thing called evidence-based psychic readings, where she will literally read you your life and then tell you a color of something in the room that you're in right now. You know what I mean? Like, she's freaking so dope and so amazing, and has been like my number one supporter besides Steve on this magical journey of mine. And so she's on there. She offers 3 different services, I think. Oh my God, I totally should have gone to that. Anyway, but she's amazing. And if you can't get a hold of me, you definitely want to get a hold of her. Because when I say she is going to bring that truth, she will bring that truth. She will help you heal, and she'll cry with you. It's beautiful. Like, she's amazing. Oh my God.
She has so many different aspects to what she offers. It's just what's listed there. She is like an amazing individual being. You know, her spirit shines through, and it'll come across. You'll notice exactly what you need just by talking to her. So,
I mean, just looking at pictures, I'm still in disbelief that's your mom. I got to be your sister or something, you know.
Absolutely.
I did not know, like, come on.
That
so
is my mommy, girl.
I believe you guys. And then looking at you, come on. So,
thank you, darling.
Okay, so, you know, this is a podcast about relationships, about love. And since I got you two here, I got to know, like... because you guys are one of my couple goals, okay? Because
Aw,
y'all
you are
power
so
couple.
sweet.
So, like, I really want to know, like, about how y'all joined y'all love together, especially with mysticism and with business as well.
Absolutely. Well, hold on, I'm about to blush. You know, it started on Tinder, believe it or not. That's how we met. We met on Tinder. And he was the third person I swiped. And the number one, he literally swiped, we talked on the phone, we met, we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
It was like in 3 days.
was-
Boom.
Did you know she was a witch when you met her?
Well, I was already on my own path too, so it's like
The
I was looking for
the
that.
energy is drew. Y'all was
Yes.
exactly
Okay.
That's
Like,
all
that's
I was
where we
willing to
met.
accept.
Yes.
That's all I was willing to accept. Same goes for her
Right.
because we realized, you know, we need that same energy.
I agree.
What I place out there is what I get in return.
That's
So
right.
I'm gonna clean my energy, take my time, take my little hiatus,
Yes.
clean my energy, and come back, not expecting, but knowing that my match is coming.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. You like that, huh?
Yeah, I'm on it with the sound effects. I tend to be on it.
Absolutely.
first thing we started with though, in our relationship, no expectations. So we stepped into it not knowing what it would be, but allowing energy to flow how it should. And we got to the point where we decided that this is it. And first thing to address, complete honesty.
Yes.
Honesty was our first step.
Honesty.
Once we,
Like that brutal honesty.
Brutal
that honesty
honesty.
down to the fault, like to the fault line. Like if you're like, yo, you know what? I was a hooker in my life. You tell that shit right then.
You tell them right away.
oh,
You
tell
tell them
them
right away.
right
I
away.
did the same thing. I
You
tell them
know?
right away.
Absolutely.
Like, listen, this is what you get.
This is what you get, you know, like no matter what it is. The thing is though, to really reach that point and to be able to be honest with somebody to that extent, you have to first be willing to be honest with yourself. Like, yo, this is what I decided to do, this is how I did it, and I've got to be okay with that,
Right.
no matter what it looks like, you know what I mean. Oh, you know what, I have these types of weird fetishes, whatever, you know, I want to suck your toes, whatever the fuck it looks like. You gotta be willing to not be ashamed of yourself and just tell that shit. You know what I mean? Because it made you who you are. And if the person is truly for you and they truly love who you are now, they gotta accept who you were then.
Yep.
You know, I'm getting goosebumps again. Oh my God. I love you.
honesty, self-honesty, and focusing on that and being honest with yourself first. It's like if you got anything to lie about in a relationship and you're really trying to get to know somebody without any deception, if you're hiding anything about who you really are, then that's something you need to address yourself, because obviously it's something about you don't like.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's that brutal honesty to where you cut into yourself, and that's that shadow work. Before I knew what shadow work was, I was doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to break down every aspect of me. If I'm gonna lie about it, I need to change that shit before I bring it anywhere.
That's the part when they say, "How can you love somebody else if you don't really love yourself?"
Oh
Right.
man.
If you, got
Okay.
stuff, if you got stuff that you hiding or that you ashamed about, right, and you can't be
Right.
true enough with yourself to in the minute with yourself, you'll never be honest enough with somebody else to come out and be that. So how can you love somebody if you
Right.
can't be honest with them?
That part.
is
That
true.
part. Yes. I gotta say, like, and I tell this story all the time, and I hope people hear this whole story so they don't think like, oh my God, he's so mean. No, okay, so I remember one time I was upset or something. I can't remember what was going on, but I was just like, I was getting ready to cry, right? And because in past relationships, it's real easy to use tears to get what you want, right? And Steve will give me anything I want, but what he says no to, that's what the hell he mean, right? And the same, right? I'm the same way, because when I say no, I will argue you to your grave. I will see you dying of whatever and still be like, no, all right? But I was getting ready to cry. My tears were forming. I was like, this is about to be good. It's about to be good, right? I was like, this is going to be a good cry. I'm finna get what I want, right? And he looked over at me. He saw my eyes welling up, and he said, we ain't got to be a match.
Right.
And I was like, excuse me? What do you mean? He's like, we ain't got to be a match. I mean, if that's what you want and that's not what I'm offering, we ain't got to be a match. It's cool. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, hold up. I'm being spoiled. Wait a minute.
Straighten that crybaby right up on up out of here.
Listen, eyes just dry as the Sahara after that, you know. But it was so significant. I never forgot it because it's just like, yo, you going to give me that real energy and you're going to ask for what you want and I'm going to give you my answer. And that's going to be it. Because if it's anything more than that, we don't have to be a match. You got to be okay with not being a match.
Right.
That part.
You know.
People spend too much time in relationships forcing square pegs into circle holes.
That
That's not your person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not your person.
That's why, like, when I meet somebody or vice versa, like, when the question is asked, well, what do you like in the person? I'm not going to give you the blueprint of what I like, so you can
That part.
put that exact mask on. Because if you're not naturally that, then you're not my person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And everything ain't for everybody. I'm not going to be
Yes.
superficially attached to whatever it is that I like about a person.
Right.
If you're not
Absolutely.
that person, you know what I mean?
You're- and that's
That was the
it.
essence of what I was saying too. When it came down to it, I'm ready to break it right now. If it can be broken, let's break.
Yes.
You know, let's break
Yes.
this down to nothing. Let's
You
turn
get,
this
you get
glass
to a
back to
fork in the
sand.
road. It's like, okay, I don't care how good this thing. Like imagine a tumor that felt like a nipple. When
Right.
You rub it, right? So you know this thing is killing you. You like it when you rub it, right? But you get in this fork in the road where it's like,
Right.
okay, I got to cut this thing off
Right.
because it's gonna kill me. I know it's gonna kill me down. It's bad for me
Absolutely.
down the line,
Yeah.
right? Or I
Absolutely.
can cut it off now and then get down to where I know I need,
That
be
part.
healthy.
That part.
Right, yeah.
So that's kind of.
In that sense, people have to detach themselves from trying to control somebody or trying to possess.
Come on now.
Come on.
Because the thing is, most relationships are, most unsuccessful relationships are based on the need to selfishly control another.
Affirmation.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's like they just want to take possession of something. I don't want you enough if you're not what I want.
Yes.
If you're not what I need,
Yes.
if I'm not what you need, let's not play with each other.
Yes.
Let's not waste any time. It is what it is, and what is not, it doesn't have to be, and should never be.
People be so attached, like I said, to the superficial reasons that they like a person, or even the motive that they have for what they
Yes.
want. Because everybody at the core, right? We all want the same thing out of a relationship or a member. It's like everybody got different motives. I ain't gonna say everybody, but sometimes people have different motives for the person that they with.
You're right.
You know what I mean, why are you with that person? You know what I
Right.
mean? When the mask come off because you didn't get what you was in this for, and then you, oh my God, this is a person I never seen before. I don't know this person.
Absolutely.
That's the
Yeah.
real person that you see now.
Yeah.
The mask came off because the motive wasn't fulfilled.
The real mask came out, and that's the thing is like taking that we ain't gotta be a match. That shit pissed me off. I ain't gonna lie. I was so mad when he said that. I was like, oh my God, how could you say that? He was like,
But
nah.
you know what's crazy about that?
But-
Like, y'all give us ultimatums all the damn
all the damn time.
And
Come
the
on
man-
now.
and see, that's all they did.
Absolutely.
Basically gave you inadvertently gave
Yes.
you like you can shut up and keep me, or you can keep it up and lose me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And the thing
definitely.
is like I've never done it again.
See?
I have never done it
And
again.
that showed him how much what you cared about him being in your life.
Absolutely.
Yes,
definitely.
Absolutely. It is so important to understand that all the things you want to draw into you, all that respect you want, you gotta give that shit. Like you gotta
Definitely.
show up that way.
Yeah.
You gotta show up genuinely respectful. Because if you don't, when you get into another argument or you don't get something that you want, you gonna break. That shit is gonna break. If you have not actualized the respect you're asking for, you will break when it is required of you.
Because you're not that naturally.
Because
you're
you're
not
not that
that- you're not
You
naturally.
ain't built like that.
Exactly.
You're not
Right.
built for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and after that, it's like, yes, it's love, but it's respect. It is straight up respect. Like, I love this man. Absolutely. I trust him with my life. He can trust me with his. But it is respect that keeps us coming back. It is respect undergirded by love. But, like, don't get it twisted, y'all. Love without respect is not love.
Exactly.
It is not.
I kind of think of it like this too. Like, I don't like. Can you agree with me, or what y'all think about this? Right? you got care, you got love, care, respect, and adoration.
Yes.
Like, if you got those three things, then you can be in
Yes.
love with a person, right?
Absolutely.
Like, or any any two, you can love a person, but
Absolutely.
three, then you're in love, right?
You're right,
So
absolutely.
I can care and respect my brother, right?
Yes.
I got love for him. I can't adore my brother. You know what I'm saying? So again, when it comes to, so that's the thing. So it's a combination of care, respect, and adoration.
Absolutely.
Right? That creates love,
Yes.
being in love. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
it does. And you know what, too? I want to add to that. I want to say respect, care, adoration, and devotion. But here's where that devotion goes. That devotion is a reflection of the care, respect, and love you have for the other person. Like
Right,
that, or
right.
care, respect, and adoration.
That's a product.
Devotion
That's
is a product
of the care,
the care, respect, and adoration. And I look at devotion, yes, devoted to our agreement, but he makes me more devoted to myself every
Devoted
day
as a person. Just
as a
like
person.
him as a person.
You know what I mean? Like he reflects so much back to me because Steve is a thinker. Gets on my nerves because sometimes I just be wanting to bullshit. But Steve is a thinker. He's just like, with every joke, there's a little bit of truth. And I'll be like, ooh,
Yeah.
hold on, let me reevaluate this. Hence the shadow work.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, that devotion, that respect, care, and adoration is going to lead you to a space of devotion to both your commitment to each other and to yourself. Commitment to yourself is just freaking important because again, you can't show up real if you're not real within
With
you.
yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't know who you are and you can't operate
Yes.
accordingly to who
Exactly.
you are,
Right.
then how can you be anything to anybody as far as being their
Man,
what?
come on.
Who are you?
Go ahead and drop a sound effect. Go ahead and drop a sound effect for yourself.
Right.
Who are you if you don't even know who you are? For real.
There's another aspect to. I mean, there's all those things, and I understand that, and I feel that, right? Love, people got language fucked up. So, love.
There we go.
Love isn't a thing. Love is undefined. You can't define what love really is. You can give it a name like that, but at the same time, when you place false characteristics on what love is, so you can't put it in a box. So love is you. So
It's a resonance.
when you find the matching resonance, then that can be called love. But what it is it's movement, it's energy.
Yes.
It's an energy. So when it comes down to, like truthfully, you try to look for love, you're going to find something somebody else defined. So what I told my wife in the beginning, I said, best thing to do is not follow any blueprint. So the I love you, no. See, we have something. We have an energy.
Yes.
Love us.
Yes.
So I'm not going to tell you all the time I love you. No, I love us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love what we are together because, look, how it comes out, how it boils down is
This is why I wanted him to come.
when you break up with somebody, when you leave and separate from somebody, you said, I love you all this time. But do you still love that person when you're no longer a part of that person? No, what you love is what you have together. And as soon as that's gone, so if you
gotta
start
carry on with
Superficial.
yourself.
It's
Right.
It's
Right, it was
not
all
real.
superficial.
Right.
So what was the
So
love?
yeah, at the
then?
core of what you're saying, as
Right.
far as it being energy, absolutely, and I
Yeah.
can't. But I guess I was speaking on more terms of when we talk about a relationship with a mate.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And what are the the components? Because you can't categorize love. As you said, you can't
Yes.
put
Right.
you can't put the components because it's personal to you, just like any other thing that's personal. We talk about religion or your relationship with your child or your
Yes,
mate.
absolutely.
So that's like in the other instance where nobody from the outside can come in and tell you what that is to you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Hey,
So
Sabrina.
I agree with that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. And I still like what you said about the care, respect, and adoration.
Because that's
It's
what we
so
talk about
beautiful.
relationships. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Relationship.
You
The
know,
combination of that, you know what I mean, that creates a mind, and what I'm speaking of, being in love or a love.
Yes.
For a person.
Yeah.
And that's just
Right.
generally for people. That's why I use bro an example because I can care and respect him. You know what I'm saying? In the matter of your. can't adore him, right? I can adore, you know what I'm saying? Move. I don't want to call her by a real name, but that's the thing. Like, so, and that can be translated across people, period.
Yes, it can. In all different types of relationships.
For people, have a respect for people, have a
Absolutely.
care for people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I might not adore everybody,
Right.
so I can't be in love with this or this again. So that's,
Right.
that's kind of what, explains it. I won't say defines it for me.
Yeah, and yeah.
Because there's many different types of relationships
There
and relating within people, within communication. So when you find a relationship, it doesn't have to be that specific type of energy. It doesn't have to be a love, to
Or a
give
forever
label.
thing.
Right. It don't have to be a forever thing. It's more experiential.
Yes.
Because we're here to experience life. Life
Yeah,
is
we
an
are.
experience.
Absolutely.
We're here to learn from our mistakes. And
Yes.
I'm not afraid to make them because it's going to build who I am.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, fear places you in a place where you do not want to lose. You don't want to waste no time. But the thing is, if you look at it from the right way, it's not a loss of time if you learn.
Yes.
So,
It is not a loss of time. You need to go ahead and say that shit
That's
again.
a quote. That needs to go on the shirt.
It is
It's
not a loss of time if you learn.
yeah.
Absolutely. That's really good.
I mean, a lot of times we learn the most from our mistakes. if you
Oh,
will,
yeah.
So yeah, you always.
Absolutely.
I don't look
Success is full of mistakes. It is full of it.
Yeah.
The admission of it, though. Admitting that this is a mistake. Let me
Absolutely.
stop.
You know what I'm saying?
Because that's the thing why things get drug out to a position where you hate each other or you're not really trying to be around each other.
Because y'all wasn't real with yourself
Right,
in
you
the
wasn't real
first
with
place.
yourself. Let it go.
Yes.
Let it go.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's our.
I'm glad I asked. Y'all gave some really, really good stuff. So we want to get into the topic now, okay? So the topic is about love and abuse. Okay,
yes.
so I chose this topic because it's something that I can relate to, and it's something that popped up down my timeline. Like when I was trying to come up with a topic, I changed it every single day, but this one really stuck out the most to me. So I'm like, this is it. But what made me want to talk about it is because I saw an article down my timeline about Johnny Depp and the Amber girl.
Amber Heard, I think.
Yeah. So we have the article. I want to talk about it a little bit, but I don't really want to get too much into because after I read about their story or whatever, I'm like, I don't know if this is a real domestic violence. They look like they were abusing each other and they liked it. Okay, so
Right.
I'm like, it's kind of making a mockery of people that really been through that because they are celebrities and they are on TV, on television with this scripted. To me, I'm gonna just say that because that's my opinion. I don't care.
She got a lot of scripted type things going on, looking type of things going on.
It is. Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, Meg Thee Stallion, I can go on.
Yeah. I wasn't even gonna mention that because I know for sure that wasn't no domestic violence situation. So but that was what brought my attention to it. So the article about them was just them talking about the whole case, them going back and forth, saying what they did to each other. I was going to read the article, but now I'm like, I don't even really going to go into it. It really is just entertainment and it's nonsense. So it made me think, I'm like, well, there are real situations out there that barely even get talked about. So I have found another article about this guy from Florida. You gonna pull up the picture?
It's up there.
So I don't see it.
You're not gonna see it when I do it.
My bad.
Right. There's like a little bit of a delay.
My bad. So this guy killed his wife. They were in a separation, whatever. Before he killed her, he had stabbed her multiple times.
Yikes.
And she filed a police report and he went missing, so he was still loose, and the next day he found her while she was at this, it sounded like a recreational center where people go swimming and stuff. She was there with her daughter that wasn't biologically his daughter, and he popped up on her and tried to talk her out of pressing charges against him, and she said no, and he pulled out a gun and shot her in front of a bunch of kids and her daughter and a bunch of people.
Thanks.
And unfortunately, with domestic violence and abuse, most of these cases end up in death. You know, most people don't get out, you know.
Right.
I could relate because I've been through that type of relationship, but I'm a survivor. You know, I got out, you know, my abuser is no longer alive. So, you know, I did some research, you know, and I wanted to see, like, how serious and how common this is. And I read something and it says, so the question I had was, how many women die from domestic violence? And it says over 4,000 women die each year, and only 75% of them are killed while they were trying to leave or after the relationship. And then I put, this does not include workplaces. And then it says 20 people per minute are abused by an intimate partner. And then I said it don't include the workplace because, you know, that's a whole nother
Different
subject, you know, because
right.
I've worked in places where I had to see people do that. Abuse is just terrible to me, you know. And then, you know, what's really crazy is that even though women are typically the victims, we are more likely to be abusers ourselves.
Yes.
Or become the abusers. And so yeah, that's just me giving my little insight and rundown about abuse. And I heard you speak earlier that some of your services do kind of wrap around helping women with those type of situations. So, you know, I just want to know exactly what service is that, number one.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that, right? Because it's not necessarily catered to those that have experienced that form of trauma, but I do work a lot around healing. And as a mystic, I always start with your spiritual healing, right? Your spiritual, emotional, mental space is very important. I am not a therapist. Let me just go ahead and say that. I am not a therapist. I do agree with therapy. I think it's very good. I think it's healthy for you to be able to talk to somebody who's going to be objective and hear you, because I think a lot of our self-inflicted trauma comes from not being heard, right? So I'm not a therapist, but I do work with as it pertains to my clients, I work with their spiritual, emotional, mental space, and just assisting them in finding that safe space within them. We are all sacred. You know what I'm saying? Our minds should be sacred to us. I remember when I was coming up out of a relationship, the first thing and it was abusive from both him and my aspects. When I was coming up out of there, and I finally took myself to therapy. And the first thing the therapist said was like, it sounds like you need to create a sacred space for yourself. Even if it's just a closet, you know, just put things on there that you like. And little did I know, years later, now I realize she was telling me to create an altar. She was telling me to like, put yourself find a space where you're safe. So that's kind of what I work with my clients on, is finding that safe mental, emotional, spiritual space. And if they're in physical danger, like, I do not believe in staying in physical danger. Like, I just, not for a moment. Whether, I don't even believe that for whether you're the abuser or the abused. You should not stay in the same physical space with anyone that calls forth that type of energy from you. You just should not. Clearly, they are not your what? Your person.
Right.
They're not your person. Do not remain in that physical space.
Also,
go ahead, honey.
You know, you have the triad, right? You
Yes.
have your physical that you do not ever want to compromise, but you also have your mental and spiritual. You have to protect these things. If you have somebody spiritually attacking you, you're in the wrong place. But if you have somebody who mentally breaks you, you got to deal with that later. So it's just as harmful, probably not as fatal as a physical
Right.
abuse situation, but your mentality, for your mental to be, you shouldn't neglect it. You shouldn't neglect it in a situation when somebody's trying to break you down. You were talking about what's the guy name?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny
Yeah.
Depp. He said something. I watched a little bit of the court, his, where they were questioning him.
Yeah.
And they broke down something. They said, he broke it down. And he basically, I don't know verbatim, I try not to hold on to things like that, but verbatim, what he said was, she loved what she could get from me more than she loved me. So, regardless of what they did to each other, that was a position that was played against him. But not calling him the straight out victim, they were victimizing each other.
Yes.
Yeah, they
But,
were across the board.
So
Absolutely.
it's a lot of situations like that. When you don't put value in yourself, then you won't make the decision to move on.
Absolutely.
So it's really about valuing yourself
It is.
overall, and you can't let any aspect of your being be compromised. And so it's essentially on you. It's in your hands.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it's not, if you get to the point where you feel like it's not, you can always find a way. There's always a way to make a way.
There's always a way to make a way, and that's important because you know what I mean. Steve is obviously my life partner, right? We have had time periods when we were just like, oh, nah, fuck this, I'm out. Fuck this, I'm out. fuck you, I'm out, right? But the fact of the matter is, what stopped us from just breaking apart completely is that as it pertains to a moment where we are in discord, after that moment, what happens? What happens after we get to this place where we're just like, fuck it?
The devotion way more than the disagreement.
Man, okay? That part. So what happens after that space? So in particular with my clients, I'm just like, okay, you got angry. You guys aren't trying to be together anymore. What happens after that? Where are you? What mental space are you in? Some people are in a space of obsession. Other people are in a space of, I don't know, I think I can recover if I go off on my own. Other people are in a space of like, I think we overdid this. I think maybe we can still salvage this. You have to ask yourself those questions. What space am I in after this? And I can say this because I have been in situations where I have been abused. I have been in situations where I am the abuser. In fact, I've had to catch myself like, whoa, am I bullying here? Am I being a fucking bully?
I've definitely had to do
Okay. I was like, even in my friendships, I'll be like, yo, wait a minute. Am I bullying? Am I being bullied?
Sometimes
you know what I mean?
we can be the narcissist.
Yes, we can. And I'm saying that to say this is that after that happens, where do you find yourself? What level of self-reflection are you at? The last time I was like, man, fuck it, Steve. Man, fuck you, I'm out, right? Afterward, I sat back and I was just like, damn it, I still like him. And damn it, I was wrong. And I still like myself. I like us. Fuck, I love us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we had to find what that looks like. And sometimes you have to redefine your relationship.
Some people aren't mature though to come to that realization amongst themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So they'll never, don't force yourself with someone
Right.
who isn't that mature,
Who
mature
isn't
enough to
that
have
mature.
that observation.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, everybody has disagreements.
Yes.
It's all about your ability to understand where you were wrong,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then if you were wronged, address the other person respectfully
Yes.
and come to a conclusion.
I was
That
about
part.
to say it's not about what happens; it's about how you respond to what
Yes,
you find.
Right,
that's
right.
exactly right.
True, yeah.
That's exactly right because your desires deserve an opportunity. They deserve a reinspection. They deserve a second chance. If you see the future ahead of you as being one where you're singular or one where you're with the person or one where maybe somewhere down the line you could potentially be with the person, you deserve that moment, that sacred space of reinspection, of looking at it. And I think when abuse really becomes a pattern, that's when you have to be like, in what ways am I not loving myself here? In what ways is this situation not supporting that self-love? And in what ways does this situation call forth my hatred of the other person? Call forth an abusive space in me of the other person? And you know what? Most of the shit I get from therapy or from just talking with Steve when we're not fighting, just talking with him and being like, okay, no, if this ever happened, what will we do? We do a lot of what ifs because I like what ifs, right? But but in the end, you've got to have that sacred space with yourself. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of like, I don't want to say Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but I think like just the woman in Florida that was gunned down in front of her daughter. She had spaces in there that she made decisions in there that was just like, is this okay for me? Is this not okay for me? And maybe she listened, maybe she didn't. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? It ended in that way. But there were also spaces in there where he was like, this is making me crazy. You know what I mean?
No, that man been crazy.
Yeah, he probably has, because mental illness is a thing.
Because when I read further into it, he had, now that he's locked up for her murder, they're now trying to get him for 2 other murder cases from 2 other previous relationships of women that he was with that came up missing.
Oh, that's so annoying.
So he's been doing this.
Yes, mental illness is real, and that's not an excuse. That is facts. Okay, that is like, yo,
Man. Y'all made me want to talk about a situation I can't even talk about on the air right now. That's eerily similar to all of that's going on, man. It is just wild, man. Yeah, mental illness is definitely real.
It is, and it, I encourage people too. That's one reason why I love hoodoo and working with the different herbs and everything. My mother was an amateur. When I was younger, she was amateur. She's not anymore. She was an amateur herbalist. And she taught me so many different things. She's just like, if you're constantly stressed out, use ashwagandha. If you need that, you know what I mean? Just the herbs.
I got some of that.
Yes,
girl. LaDonna Lee on Facebook says, having and using emotional intelligence makes hard conversations possible.
Absolutely. It does. Emotional intelligence is on point. That is very true. And more than even just emotional intelligence, because I took a class once on emotional intelligence, and I was just like, girl, you are not intelligent, nor are you in tap with your emotions. But
you said you taught a class?
No, I took a class on emotional intelligence. They were offering it at work. And that's when you found out
that you didn't possess those.
Bro.
No. Put the mirror up in front of you.
It was like, I was like, hold up, homegirl, that is not, and she would give us examples, and I was just like, that's not good. Like, no, that's not true, But so I was actually on point, but it did still hold a reflection up on me. But like, in it, more so than just emotional intelligence, right? Again, Adana, I want to sit on top of that real quick. More than just emotional intelligence, you gotta want to be there. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you can be emotionally intelligent and use that instead as a tool of manipulation. You gotta want to be.
That's kind of like
around the person you're
sound
with.
effect for that one.
Right. Yeah, that sound effect for that one, right? That's kind of like communicating with somebody who don't have comprehension skills.
Yes.
You can be the best communicator in the world, but if you're not picking up what I'm putting down,
it's a totally different thing, But yeah, you gotta want to be there, and again, that's also why I say though, you guys, if you need a therapist, you should definitely go to one. If you feel like your mind is going nutso, if you're feeling like you're hearing voices, whatever the case may be, I encourage you, as a spiritualist, I encourage you to seek out help. Seek real help. Go to a doctor. Go to your doctor. If your doctor ain't listening to you, go to a counselor. Find somebody that can get you the type of help you need, because that shit is too important. Your mental health is too important. I can recommend ashwagandha, lemon balm tea, blueberry tea all day long. But go ahead, darling.
No, I'm saying that there's deeper than that.
Yes.
It's internal. It's internal. So once you get to a point where you can admit, that the problem is in you, then you can probably go. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
a licensed therapist. You could go talk to your mama, talk to your friend, talk to whoever. And really, what you really want, and in most cases, is you want the reflection of what it is your mind trying to tell you, because
Yes.
you really don't want to accept the fact that the answers are already there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Exactly.
you got to
You need-
bounce it off of
You
somebody.
need confirmation. You need a yes
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So
You need a
once you
hype
can sit
man.
down and be quiet and just listen to yourself and be honest with you,
Yeah.
then
You know what it is. You was built.
It'll work
You was
out.
wired with the sense of right and wrong.
right.
Yes,
For yourself,
right.
even.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know when it's right. That's the whole
Right.
the intuition. Like I thought about that and I knew I shouldn't have did it. Then I did it and I fucked up.
Yes.
Right, or I
Absolutely.
thought about it. I knew I should have did it, and I should have did it, and I would have won over or
Right,
something. I would have got it. You know what I mean? So it's just like you
Yeah.
know that intuitions of what you should do and shouldn't do, whether it's like something that's is right or wrong or win or lose. Right?
Right.
You know what it is that you should or shouldn't do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
No, you don't need
You
confirmation. The confirmation sometimes is you hitting that wall. You know what it is that you're supposed to
Yeah.
do. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yes.
against therapists at all. Therapists are a great thing for
They
people
are.
who cannot sit down and have an
decipher
internal
it for
conversation.
themselves.
Right,
Yeah.
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 So I mean,
Absolutely.
a lot of people do need that, and they do a great job when they're trained well. So I'm not against people
against
who go
it
to
at
school
all.
for that, because it's a very valuable thing in all communities, especially melanated
Yes.
communities. We need that. When we can't talk to ourselves, we need to be able to go to somebody and talk and
Yes.
get it off.
get it off. If
Get
not
it
nothing
off so we
else,
could
if not
change,
nothing else, yeah.
right? So we could change the
Yes.
issues within ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it is, man, is not having nobody to talk to,
Right.
a ear. And that's all it is. Sometimes.
Yes.
It's not
That
about
is
going to
all it
somebody
is.
that will give you the direction, some kind of expert that's been there,
Right.
done that.
Right.
It's just having a release, somebody that's unbiased, spot to release this information.
Absolutely.
My feelings,
Right.
how I feel, you know what I mean? And that's just
Yes.
sometimes, and that fixes it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes it's just having somebody that I feel like, if you never feel like you understand.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, therapy
That's
is
correct.
is good. You know what I mean?
It is
Yeah.
very good. And yeah.
And I definitely just highly recommend therapists because a lot of times we
We like
A lot
therapy.
because you can't constantly depend on your friends, your family, your significant other. Most of the times, they're not in a space to
Yes.
handle the dump. So get a therapist. A lot of times, and there are resources for
There are.